Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So today, I'm going to finally be checking out Darkseid Oversize Special. I don't know why it says number one, they only, did one. I hope it's bright enough for you to see. This is really glossy, so I was having a hard time filming this without the glare from the light really making it hard to see. So the cover is really cool. As you can see, it's really glossy, but I do like the cover a lot. In person, the coloring on it's really nice. It looks really good. So I like it. I think it's a good cover. I think we've all seen the cover quite a bit, but I think it's really good. So the story itself is kind of strange. You start off on the first page here, and there's this great big statue of Darkseid, and they're on Apocalypse. You can see all the little, the normal-sized people there are toiling away, working, and you've got the giant Darkseid statue, and it's all, it's Apocalypse. That's basically what it looks like, but someone's taken and written Tyrant on the Darkseid statue. So it goes through this whole thing about how, some people are we're all oppressed, but some people stand up and try and make a difference, and those people are the resistance. So it kind of would imply that there's like a whole group of people, like, a large resistance force. But anyways, we start off, and it's talking about how, horrible Apocalypse is, and we're all aware of that. We know it's nasty there. This is Granny Goodness here. So this is a bit of a flashback. The main characters in this story were under her quote-unquote care when they were children, and they escaped. So they become what is known as the Resistance, although for the most part they don't seem to really do much. Okay, this is them fleeing still. This is when they're fleeing the orphanage. So they get away, but there's really only 3 of them at the point the story is taking place. There's 3 left. So there's this woman and 2 guys. And somehow she has a mother box. It's never explained how she got a mother box, which I think is probably a major plot point that they don't, explain. But she has one, so she makes a daily recording on the mother box. And every day she says this is the last day of her life, and then makes a kind of a diary entry. So I thought that was kind of a cool bit, because you never know how long you're going to live, right? Like, any day could be your last, so especially when you live on Apocalypse. Here's a really good picture of Darkseid. I forgot to say the artist on this is Scott Collins. I like his art generally. I think it's really good. But Darkseid, it might be hard for you to see, but he's standing on the head of one of his minions, and he's saying, "You failed me. You haven't captured those resistance guys in 3 years." I'm just thinking, okay, 3 years, these orphans, and it must have been, I guess it's been 3 years, it says in this, but they've certainly aged from children to young adults. But anyways, he's mad with his subordinate for not catching them yet, and he kills them with his death beam, and then he says, bring me new searchers. So they bring in the Furies, the female Furies. Oh, and there's this little bit, too, about how Darkseid doesn't want these resistance people to become like a new Mr. Miracle, which I don't think he had to worry about that. So anyways, pick up the pace here a little bit. So he sends out the Furies, and they're searching for him. They're going around interrogating people and beating them up. It's pretty rough. And finally they get a lead on him. They find one of the 3. So they catch him, and they take him back to Darkseid. Darkseid questions him, and he gives up the location of where the Michaela and the other guy are. Michaela's the girl with the mother box. And after he gets the information, Darkseid kills him. He burns up. And then these are the 2 resistance people that are left. And so far the only resistance they've done is vandalizing a Darkseid statue. So anyways, the Furies show up, and instead of like an epic fight or something, like you'd expect, she just surrenders. So there's this little bit here where it's like, let us introduce ourselves. I'm Mad Harriet. My powers are spikes that can shred and electrify you. And the next one's like, I'm Stompa. And then the next, they each introduce themselves and say what they can do. And then it gets to the resistance fighter. And she's like, I'm Michaela. My surrender can save you a lot of trouble and me a lot of pain. Okay, what a hero. So then they take her to Darkseid, and they got her in a jail cell. And while she's in... Oh man, the lighting in here is bad, I'm sorry. I hope you guys can see this okay. I figured dark was better than really bright glare. But anyways, my point is, she's in Darkseid's prison, and she still has her mother box. How what? Her guards, like Darkseid's guards, apparently didn't check her. So anyways, they bring her to Darkseid, bring her before Darkseid, and she's talking crap, like she could get away with it. And then she gets him to admit, like, this is a bad story. I'm just going to say right now, the art on this is okay, and the cover is cool, but this is a bad Darkseid story. So she gets Darkseid to admit that he secretly, like, dreams at night about losing power and how he's afraid of the people just rising up and he'll lose everything. And then she's like, haha, the old recorder, I was recording you like you're Richard Nixon, and this is 1970, So she recorded him on the mother box and then throws the box out the window, and her little buddy's going to catch it. And this doesn't even really make sense. Like, it gets destroyed, I would assume. But what's really weird is that when Darkseid turns around from shooting his death beams, Michaela's gone. So she escaped, and Darkseid's just like, oh, well, I guess I lose now. And it says, there was a deafening silence in Darkseid's chambers for that moment and for days that follow. So I guess because she ran out the door that was apparently unguarded, Darkseid gave up. So she and her not boyfriend run out, and they go and they run, and then they say that they have, and it literally says, look, there's a Darkseid statue here that I haven't had a chance to decorate yet. So it's like the Burger King Kids Club version of Apocalypse. It's like the consequences are inconsequential, like just the idea that they could be on the run for 3 years on an apocalypse and succeed, and then just walk out and try and basically blackmail Darkseid is just absurd. So one cool thing, though, it's almost like DC knew that story was crap, because they included not one, not two, but 3 extra stories at the end that are actually pretty good. This one's one of the OMAC project. So these are all reprints, but I believe all 3 of them are Jack Kirby, at least on the art. So there's an OMAC story, which is really short and just kind of action-packed, which isn't bad. It's a good little story. And then there's one after it, which I thought was probably the best thing in this book, was this here. It was written and drawn by Jack Kirby. It was really good. The Young Gods of Supertown. So it's about this group of raiders that come over from Apocalypse, and they go to New Genesis, and they run into some of the characters from over there and whatnot. But anyways, they have this big gun, and they want to shoot down Supertown, but Big Bear, who's one of the Forever people, he comes over, and he basically throws a log on them. It's just, and it blows up, and then there's a bit about how the one New Genesis guy wasn't hurt because he had a pocket-sized force field thing. And then there's one more story at the end. So they give you 3 bonus stories. So I think, I don't know, they really tried their best. I think these King 100 things are really good.